Welcome to the Kling Connection Travel Talk podcast, where the world of travel comes to life through real conversations. Hosted by Shaun Kling, each episode explores the highs and lows of life on the road, connecting with travelers, industry insiders, and digital nomads to uncover expert tips, budget hacks, and inspiring stories. Whether you're a weekend explorer, a full-time adventurer, or simply wanderlust curious, Shaun brings first-hand advice, destination insights, and honest takes from those shaping the global travel scene. Join Shaun Kling.
Hey everybody, welcome to our exciting adventure on the Kling Connection, our new podcast. And if you've been following us for any amount of time, you can see that we've been traveling the world, traveling across the country, and experiencing all sorts of great stuff. Well, today I got a special treat for you. I have a special YouTuber by the name of Shaun On Site. Now, Shaun is a world traveler. He's done all sorts of crazy things around the globe, traveling, teaching, working in insurance, you name it. He's been around the globe, and you need to go and check him out on YouTube on Shaun On Site. He's also all over social media, and this guy is a hoot. I've worked with Shaun a couple times in the past. He is a class act, and he's going to be dumping a bunch of his knowledge on us today about world travel. So welcome to the show, Shaun.
Hey, good to be here, Shaun.
Oh, it's great. You know, we follow your adventures here at the Kling Connection all the time. We are some of your biggest fans. We like all your videos. I got to see some of the cool stuff when you were in Japan and in Korea and some of the videos that you've put out. And let me tell you something. We're envious. You are living the life. You are living the life, man. So tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're from and just tell me a little bit about your background.
All right, man. So I'm originally from a city called Arlington, Texas. It's kind of like right in between Dallas and Fort Worth. I'm pretty sure you know where it is because y'all went to Fort Worth. Born and raised there. Growing up, I've always had like very interest in a lot of things. I grew up a huge gamer in the cartoons, animation. Like I was one of the few Black people that liked anime, which kind of fueled me wanting to go to Japan. Eventually, at one point in high school, I used to want to be a sports commentator before I realized, oh, wait, you actually have to know sports to do it. So after I did it and failed it, my director at the time, I used to work for like one of the first streaming companies in the nation, I think in the world.
Wow.
Penny Entertainment. It was called Penny Entertainment, and we did like high school sports.
Okay.
And after I did a stint in that doing commentary, my mentor at the time said, hey, why don't you get into like video editing and filming and stuff? You're natural in front of the camera. So I did that, and I just kind of fell in love with it. And from there, I went to college, went to UNT, got my degree in radio, television, and film, and used that to go to Korea to be an English teacher. And then I used my time in Korea to actually try to build up a YouTube and then try to build up myself as a man and just in my professional life. Came back home, tried to get a job in my field of study, hated it, and then went back to Korea and just stayed over there and did some more building independently for a bit, and then I met up with a guy from Brazil on Twitter. He got me an insurance adjuster, and I came back here, and I've been working in that ever since.
Wow, that's cool. So let's rewind a little bit and talk about your gaming, because we do have people that follow us that are gamers, and I'm not so much of a gamer, but I enjoy it, like watching it. I'm go back to when they had Atari. And my brother had a Nintendo. And if my brother's watching this video, he never beat me in GoldenEye. He tried. It was never that good. He cheated once in a while. But my brother Aaron, if you're watching this video, you know that I was the king of GoldenEye. Anyway, tell me a little bit about
Odd Job?
I was terrible at video games. Like I just didn't know what to do. Even Mario, I couldn't make the jump. It was nuts. But like so you're into gaming and anime, which is really cool, and that got you influenced to go to Japan. So tell me a little bit about your gaming. Like, what's your game? What's your go-to?
Oh shoot! Right now on my Switch, I'm actually playing Paper Mario. Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door, and probably one of my top 5 RPGs. I'm a huge Japanese or RPG or role playing game player. I love those, and I'm doing multiple playthroughs of that game because I'm working on that to try to work on my languages. Like the last time I played through it last month, I played it entirely in Korean, and this time I'm playing it entirely in Spanish. But the thing is, though, what's so weird about playing the game right now in Spanish is they use Spain Spanish, and it's not like Latin American Spanish. So I'm just like I'm having to use the vosotros form of it. I'm just like, wait a minute, hold on, what does this mean? Wait a minute, let's go to dictionary. Oh crap, let's do all that. But I've been gaming since I was 4 years old. I never forget the first time my parents, they went to a pawn shop and they bought an NES and we were all like playing it together. But I just got so hooked on playing Super Mario Brothers, and then they got me a Game Boy and I was playing Mario and Tetris on that too a few years later.
Tetris is addicting. I'll be the first. I had to take it off my phone because I would sit there on vacation or a trip and sit there and play Tetris, and before you know it, like 2 hours go by. It's addicting.
You know what's so crazy about it is like I didn't know how serious Tetris was until I played an arcade version of Tetris. They call it like the Grandmaster. And like when the Japanese do Tetris, they do it in such a way that is just intense. Like I didn't know that that you can just have it just go like straight down immediately. They even have like invisible Tetris when you beat it.
Wow.
And some dude was actually clearing it. And I was like, wow, that is so nuts. I can never get that far.
Invisible Tetris. How do you even know what the blocks are? Invisible Tetris, like
well like the moment it lands, it'll show you, but you just have to just know it. I mean, some guys they're just that fast, and I'm just like, oh no, I can't do that. I cannot do that. Though I don't play games as much as I used to. Like, as a matter of fact, I used to try to play fighting games, like competitively. You know, like Street Fighter, Tekken, King of Fighters, Virtua Fighter, and like other niche fighters. But I quit like I'll never forget this. I quit playing fighting games January 20th, 2020. I never forget this. I'm in Korea and I'm playing Tekken 7. And I went 0-9 that night. And 3 of those losses came from a pro that's like internationally very good. And when I saw how he practiced, and I said, well, I came to 2 conclusions. Number one, I've been playing the game wrong this whole time. And number 2, at my age, I was 34. I was 30. I just turned 34. I just said, I can't do this anymore. I said, I'm done. I'm done. And plus the scene itself is just, it's just I don't like the scene very much. Like, I don't want to get too into it because it's just because of how bad it's gotten. But like, that moment really taught me the importance of gatekeeping. Because you got in some people that's into the gaming scene right now that's just pretty much taking over it. And you're just like, man, who let you guys in? You know, it's like gaming is supposed to be our escape from reality. But these people want to bring like certain type of realities into the scene. I'm just like, no, that's not how it's supposed to be. Y'all got, but it's been overtaken with people like that. So I just said, no, you know what? You guys can have it. I don't want to do this anymore.
I remember seeing something a few years back, League of Legends. They had like some big competition for League of Legends in like Las Vegas. My nephew, my sister's son, is big into gaming, and I don't want to talk about gaming the whole time, but he was big into gaming and he did League of Legends. And he was telling me about this event that they had in Las Vegas. And it was like a global competition for League of Legends. And I think he went. I don't know if he competed, but it was kind of cool. You know, I mean, like I never played League of Legends, but I saw there were thousands of people at this event that he went to.
Yeah, League of Legends is huge in South Korea. My first year there, I was in Busan, and they had like a gaming. There was a gaming event going on there, but I mainly went there to go see the Grandmaster of the martial art I used to study at the time. I had a chance to go over there. I actually had a chance to meet up with some of the developers of the game. They were actually some super cool dudes. But League of Legends in South Korea is super, super big. Like they actually have an esports stadium dedicated to League. And my students and coworkers at the time, they all played it, and everything. Like elementary kids, they would play it. And in fact, some of my students would even learn English by playing the game in English. Right, like some of my students, their moms wouldn't let them play video games unless they were playing it in English, and some of them were quite good at it. But yeah, like League is a big deal in South Korea. In fact, you go to if you were to go, like every block has a PC, what they call a PC bong or PC room. and it'd be like a dollar an hour, dollar USD an hour. And you can just be in there all day just playing League or whatever online game. Like PC gaming is a very big thing in South Korea.
So that's interesting. And so what we're going to do, we'll jump over to South Korea now, because you just sparked my interest in, you were talking about these gaming rooms and stuff. So you leave Texas and you head to South Korea. Is that your first place overseas that you became a teacher? Tell me how you became a teacher and how you wound up in South Korea. This is interesting.
Okay, so 2010, I graduated university. Couple months later, one of my classmates from university, we both were in the same study. She hits me up. She says, "Hey man, I'm going to go to South Korea to go be an English teacher." And initially, I was not interested at all. I said, I don't want to do that. I want to actually work in video media production, because that's what I went to school for. And but after a while, I realized that everything for video media just wasn't working out. And one day I found a song. I love telling this story. There was a song by a rapper. His name is Lupe Fiasco. There was a song. I don't know how the heck I found this song, but it just showed up on my on YouTube, on my For You page on YouTube one day. And he has a song called Paris Tokyo. Now there's two versions to this song. I heard the remix version of it. And Lupe is always saying something, 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 get your passport. And I wish I could remember this, because it's been a while since I actually listened to it. But he kept saying, get your passport, get your passport. But I'll never forget, one day I just listened to that song for just hours on end. I just kind of hypnotized myself. And I said, you know what? I think I'm going to go get my passport. So I remember it was on a Monday. I sent in I processed my application to go get my passport. And I got it that Friday. Because, normally getting a passport takes like weeks. It takes like 6 weeks, right?
You could take
months. And I got it that Friday. I said, okay, wow, this is a sign here that I probably should be doing this. And so I do this, and then I'm talking to my friend, and she's telling me, okay, if you want to do the whole career thing, you got to do this. You got to go get a background check. You got to go get your degree apostille. So I go off and I do that in late February 2012. I'm on the flight to South Korea.
Wow.
To be an English teacher. I said, okay, let me try this thing out, since I'm not able to get any work here in my field.
So how long, now you flew out of Texas, I'm assuming, your local airport, because that's where you're from. How long of a flight is that? Is there a connecting flight? Is it a direct flight to Korea? What's the experience like flying from your part of the United States to Korea? Okay, so from what I recall, every time I flew out from Dallas, I would always go to California. It would either be LAX or SFO. Okay. And the first time I did it, I didn't fly Korea Air. I flew Singapore Airline. There was a connecting flight from Singapore, and then they flew out over to Incheon International Airport, which is like the main airport closer to Seoul. And I was amazed at the great service that they had there. I've never flown a 747. That blew my mind, just about how big and how long it was. But the thing that really kind of blew my mind was like how pretty the air stewardess were. And I was like, wait a minute, they're young. They're young, slim, and trim. We don't get this here in America. What the heck? Man, because you're right. You hit the nail on the head. I mean, you might get the one off, and this is no offense to this airline people that watch this, but you guys know where we're going with this.
Yeah, because I'm and this is when I got a first notice of, okay, in America, you can't sexism is more or less illegal, or right. It's very frowned upon. But in Asia, they don't care. They don't care at all. In fact, in Asia and like Eastern European airlines, just everywhere else around the world, they just don't care. It's like, look, you got to be young, slim, and trim to be an air stewardess. But what I liked about doing it was, it's like I learned. This is when I first learned about having charm and using it, because it's like I was always too afraid to do so. But I did like a week in a smile, and I said, hey, can I have since there's nobody really on this flight, can I sit in an exit row so I can stretch out my legs? She said, okay, all right, I'll help you out with that. So I did that, and I had a great 11-hour, I think it was 11 hours total.
11 hours. Oh.
Yeah. But I had enough entertainment. I was served good food, and I was just living in the moment the first time I did it.
So you land in Korea. beautiful country from what everybody says. It's gorgeous. The mountain ranges and stuff like that. I've never been to Korea. The closest my family came to Korea is my step grandfather was there during the war in the 50s. Obviously not the same as it is now. So you land in Korea, you get this teaching job. Okay. So now you're going to teach kids. What's it like teaching Korean students versus American students? I mean, I'm not assuming that you probably haven't had much education teaching American students, but what's the difference? Like, what do you think?
Oh, actually, I do. It's funny. It's funny, Brenda, because I actually did teach here in Arlington at a high school and junior high before I taught in Korea. But my first 5 months over there, they sucked. I'm not gonna lie to you, they sucked. But it sucked though because of the fact that I didn't teach at a traditional school. You got like 3 types of schools that you can really 4 types. I think it was hold on, let me see. So what I taught at first was called a Hagwon, which is a private academy, basically. And then of course you got your traditional schools. Then you got your international schools, and then you got where I went to after the Hagwon, English Village. And English Village is more like an English camp, if you will. Okay. It's a camp. But when I taught at the Hagwon is basically like English immersion, where the kids are not allowed to speak Korean, and we as teachers are not allowed to speak Korean to the students. Like the kids have to kind of immerse themselves in, and a lot of those kids don't want to be there. Like they're forced to be there by their parents. And this is what made me so happy to be an American, right? Whereas like ever since the 80s, and you see this all throughout East Asia, mainly in Japan and South Korea, where the boomers were all like, oh, the kids have too much free time. We want them to constantly go to school. So what they would do is that they would go to their traditional school Monday through Friday, and then they would have to like do some kind of after school activity. After school Hagwon, where you got like a music Hagwon, English Hagwon, a math one, and some of these poor kids wouldn't get out of school until like 10 o'clock.
Wow.
At night. But it used to be worse in the 90s, where they wouldn't get out until 1 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
And I hated it. And I hated it for that reason. And I also hated it because of how much pressure was put on us. Like when you work at a Hagwon, you get what I call George Jetson job security. Oh. Like you know how George was always threatened to get fired by Mr. Spacely? Yep. It was kind of like that, because you would keep your job based on if the students liked you or if the parents liked you. And if they didn't like you, you were gone.
And it's a very conservative culture over there too, isn't it, to some extent?
On the surface, it is, but underground is not.
So speaking of underground, so now you're teaching during the day, and now Shaun is Shaun On Site in Korea. So this is what I want to hear about. What is the nightlife like in Korea? What is I want to hear it all. I want to know what you've experienced, some of the craziest stuff that ever happened to you, the food, the best places. What do you got? What do you got in Korea?
Okay, and you just helped me to remember that I actually do have a guide that I have. It's a free guide, or people can they can pay their own price for it. But I go over a lot of that. But the nightlife, it depends on where you go. So if you're like in your early 20s or whatever, late teens, early 20s, you want to go to Hongdae, all right? That's where like a lot of good clubs are at over there. If you want to hang out with more foreigners, you go to Itaewon, but that's changing now because the military base is gone. Like all the people from Turkey more or less have like set up shop over there. But if you want to be like bad and bougie or whatever, if you got some money, you go to Gangnam. Like you remember that song Gangnam Style?
Yeah. Whatever happened to that guy?
Sorry. He's still around. He's still around. In fact, he was around for like a decade before he became internationally known because of that song. He's been around for a good while. But what a lot of people don't know about Gangnam Style was that song was actually a diss on the people of Gangnam, because in the whole area itself, because Gangnam is like the Beverly Hills of South Korea.
Okay.
It's very
I know that.
Very,
where all the rich people live, like the affluent people, and okay.
Mm-hmm.
I was today years old when I learned that. Okay.
yeah, but if you want good food, oh shoot, I say go to like the smaller the smaller areas, because you have like a lot of people that have owned restaurants since like the 70s and 80s, and they're still managing them to this day, and they kind of cook the food the old style, which is amazing. Now, but the thing what a lot of people don't know about South Korea is that it's a very culture about everyone being together. And you know, considering that they had to like recover from the war especially after being occupied by Japan for like 45 years, or 35. I can't remember. I think it was 1910 and 1945. So yeah, 35 years. They kind of had to like rebuild themselves, and with their last dictatorship, the last dictator of the country before they became a democracy really built that country up. He went through some extreme measures to make sure companies like Hyundai, Samsung, and the like can really build up from there. And they became a powerhouse in the 80s, much like Japan was. But when you go over there, you're going to see like a lot of old people still working, serving up certain foods and stuff. Like a good delicacy, bibimbap. That's my favorite. It's like rice, carrots, a couple of vegetables, some meat in there, sunny side up egg, and some hot spicy sauce called gochujang. You mix that all up together.
Off of like streetcars, vendors, or do you go into a restaurant? Or
you go into a restaurant for that. For street vendors, you get like a lot of fried foods and stuff, like fried shrimp, fried vegetables. You get like meat skewers, either like mild spice or like super spicy. That's stuff gets you.
I can't do the spicy, man. Like, Shayna goes out and she buys me spicy food, and I'm up all night. So that's all you. But throughout my time up there, my first year there were a lot of street vendors. But then whenever they had their female president, Gunhye, I forgot her family name. Park Gunhye. It's like she had some goons go out there, like literally destroy those. Wow.
And stuff. And so you don't really, so it's like you used to see street vendors all around Gangnam, but now all gone.
Is it safe?
Oh, it's very safe.
Very safe. Because a lot of times you see things on TV that, most people are never going to travel to Korea like you have. They're going to watch it on TV and assume how it is. And they see these things on TV where like an American's walking down the street and he's getting jumped by a Korean street gang or something like that. And I tend to think these things are over-exaggerated for entertainment value. I mean, you're going to run into a bad city no matter where you go. That's going to happen. There's going to be bad areas. But you think Korea was pretty safe where you were at?
Man, it's probably one of the safest places I've ever been to.
Wow.
The only time it is not safe is if you, of course, they got sketchy areas. But last I heard, they're actually demolishing that area. This is in Itaewon. So, Itaewon was infamous for having 4 types of hill: Hooker Hill, Homo Hill, Tranny Hill, and right next to it, because I think the Korean government they were playing a nasty trick on them, Islam Hill.
So I know the hill that I would be at, not the other 3.
Well, and I found it hilarious that they put Islam Hill or Muslim Hill next to the other 3 hills. That'd be haram for them. That's hilarious. But I actually walked through. I actually did walk through all 3 of the hills. I only walked through Homo Hill once, but that's because I was with some visiting friends. They actually found my live streams and they say, "Hey, we want to meet up." So we go over there, and I'll never forget this. We walked to the moment we stepped foot in the Homo Hill. There was a guy that owned a bar. He was like, "Hey, how you doing? Come on into my shop." And so we all go up in there and everything. We actually had a lot of fun. It was a husband and wife duo that went up. She wanted to go up there and like check it all out and stuff. And the only thing I hated about it though was that the owner kept trying to hit on me. He said, "You a big hunk of chocolate." I said, "Man, get your," I said, nope. I'm flattered, but nope. We have to switch seats and stuff like that. But what's so hilarious though is that the fact that he's out in the open with that is like being gay in South Korea is kind of metaphorically a death sentence, because it's like people aren't going to want to deal with you if you're gay out in the open like that. It is just like you cannot be gay. You have to really keep it on the down low. And what's messed up is that the bar owner told me that he knew a lot of Korean celebrities that were gay on the down low. It's like it would kill their career if it ever came out that they were.
So what is the drink of choice? I mean, alcohol out there in Korea, is it stronger than the United States?
From what I'm
beer guy?
told, yes. From what I'm told, yes. I don't drink alcohol, but I do. But there's a drinking culture. It's kind of similar to the Irish. Like the drink of choice is soju,
Okay, okay,
which is
okay.
basically like rice. It's like I think it's fermented rice wine or something. I can't remember, but it's a very powerful drink. Like a soju bottle is about as big as this. No, actually, no. It's about as big as this bottle of lotion.
Oh wow,
And this one bottle can mess you up.
wow. So I want to know. I'm in suspense because I know we're going to get to some of these other countries. Craziest story, Korea. Let's hear it. If it's rated X, we don't want to hear it. But if it's PG-13 or rated R, we're good.
Oh man. Okay. So where to begin? Okay. I'm trying to think because there were a few crazy things that did happen. You will see this a lot. You'll see couples fighting all the time, either verbally fighting or either physically fighting. At one point, I'm just like, oh snaps, man! First time I saw it, I was like, hey, someone gonna help them out, and Florida said, nope, don't get involved because if you do, he might whoop your ass, and then when the police come, you'll get arrested because she'll say he beat up my boyfriend or whatever. But there was the one time that I almost did go to jail because of this, because it was something different. So there was an event called Mud Fest where you're like in synthetic mud. Like the spawn mud or whatever stuff, doing stuff like that out on the beach, having fun. It's a fun time. Me and some friends, we were on our way back home from Mudfest, and we were riding a train. We got like the really cheap seats, so we're sitting on all the floors. Like me and a group of other foreigners, and like about 1 or 2 Koreans were on the floor. We're like in the snack train, if you will. So anyway, there was an old Korean guy up there. He was drunk as hell. And he saw all of us foreigners. He said he just wanted to just mess with us. Sorry. He wanted to mess with us. And so, and so my homeboy at the time, he was over there kind of like being calm and steady with him, just sternly talking to him. And he sees me, the old Korean dude, he sees me. He decided to mess with me too. And I just ignore him. And that made him mad. And so he decided to kick me. And I was like, all right, that's it. I'm about to whoop you behind. And all my foreign friends are like, hold me back or whatever. Like, no, don't do it. Don't do it. And to the surprise of everyone on the train, like this young Korean woman that worked the booth, she told that guy off and everything. And in Korea, that's a big no-no for young people to tell off old people because they go off a thing called Confucianism, where old people are right, no matter the man is right, and old people are right, even if we're wrong, no matter what. Okay. And he was like, and the old man was like, and he just kind of just stirred it all off. And because I was this close to actually like whooping his behind. Like usually I'm calling him cool, but when you when you touch me like that and you kick me habitually, then it's like, all right, man, let's go, put them dukes up.
You're not wanting to go to a Korean jail anyway.
No, you. Oh man, a friend, a guy I worked with actually did go to Korean jail. He's Korean American. He had weed in his apartment and he got raided and it was on the news too. Wow. And when he went up there, he's like, they put him in jail with the other foreigners. And it's like, and so a lot of people don't know this, but a lot of Russian and like Hong Kong mafia live over there, like the Russian mafia, the triads. A lot of them are in jail for drug smuggling. Wow. And he was put in jail with the triads, and they were trying to use him to smuggle drugs into the country.
Wow. So okay, so how long are you in Korea for then? When this is going on, a year, a few months?
Back and forth. I was there for about 8 years, back and forth.
Yeah. Okay.
But all of that was within my first year. My first time there, I was there for like a year and a half. I was up there for longer because when I went from the Hagwon over to English Village, I had to extend my stay because when you go over there, you're signing a year contract.
Okay. So then you leave Korea. Where do you go?
So the first time, this is in late 2013, I come back here to Texas and I'm trying to get a job, trying to do my video media stuff serious. I met up with a guy on LinkedIn who used to work for Sega. Oh boy, thinking about this guy. I'm trying to keep cool because it's just been a long time. I'm not as mad at it, but it was a good lesson for me to learn. He kind of gassed up, the fact that he worked for Sega and he was doing this and the third. And we kind of agreed to meet up with each other. New Year's Day come, I fly out to San Francisco. I'm over there for the first time. And I keep calling this job. I was like, hey, man, let's meet up. All right, man, we're going to meet up. We're going to do something. But the whole entire day I was there, nothing came of it. So I left the very next day and came back home. And then this blankety blank decides to call me up and he says, hey, man, stuff happened. I'm sorry. And I said, dude, no excuse. And I just cut him off immediately right there. And that made me have a kind of deep-seated hatred for a lot of for certain people. So after that, I filmed a documentary on my grandparents who were involved in the civil rights movement. Like I found out that my grandpa was actually responsible. That my family was responsible for Dr. King being in Memphis in 1968.
I remember you and I having that conversation before. That's like a pretty big thing, man. That's like something to be proud of.
It is. I mean, it is. But just looking at the history and all the things involved, it was cool. I made the documentary. Then I moved to West Texas, to Abilene, to
the desert.
Out into the desert to try to work in television, try to really work as an editor because that's always what I wanted to do. But they had me over there working as a production assistant, making $7.15 an hour. And I had to work 2 other jobs just to be able to pay off my student loan, car note, and rent. Yeah. Because I told them straight up, I said, dude, I got a freaking degree here. Let me go over here and work in the back as an editor because I can do this stuff. I've done this in Korea. I worked with like these big stations over there doing this stuff. And said, we're just going to keep you right over here. We need you here. And I said, you know what? I'm done with this. Because I worked 16-hour days for my 3 jobs for 8 months. And I said, and making the same amount of money that I'm making in Korea. And I said, man, forget this. I'm done. So I leave there in 2015, go back to stay in my parents' house for a little bit. And then I say, I'm going back to Korea. I go back to Korea and I stay there for a much longer time. Worked at a much better school. But this time I was able to explore more and I took the YouTube stuff a bit more serious, like doing street interviews. Like I was doing street interviews before it became popular.
Yeah, I've seen some of your videos of street interviews. You're really good. I mean, I know I saw one that you sent me a while ago that you were in San Antonio walking around interviewing some different people, just asking questions. It was really good, the video. You definitely have a knack for interviewing people and being on the camera and tell me a little bit about your YouTube channel. Let's get into that. Tell us a little bit about your YouTube channel. What's it about? Where can people find you?
So people can find me as Shaun On Site. It took me a good while to really find my groove with it. Like I kept experimenting because I thought at the time I used to think, if I just upload videos and go viral, maybe something will happen. I did eventually go viral. The very first time I went viral was in 2016. I interviewed Koreans, and I asked them to react to an episode of Family Guy when they talked about Korea. I thought, that was so cool. and then, but the mentality I had at the time was, it wasn't, wait a minute, maybe I should start doing this. But my mindset was, okay, now I got an audience. I'm starting to get an audience. Let me do things I really want to do. But I see now that's not the case. But nowadays, what I do is based on the idea you gave me when we last talked to each other, I just travel and I'll talk to people. And that dude you introduced me to, Peter, I forgot his last name. I saw his style. I said, hey, I like this, and I think this is something I can keep really doing with this. But I realized that it would be better for me to like really start. I upload the long form content on YouTube, but then I do short form on like TikTok and Instagram because I can get more people that way. And there was a guy that I met up with that I found who also does stuff like that, but he used to be an editor for like a major YouTube channel. I gotta look for that. Let me look for it. But he has this thing. He created a system that actually worked out for him to where he can get guaranteed 1 million views an upload.
Wow.
And stuff.
Make sure it's not those bots though, because if you get those bots, man, like we had that with our team. We had an Instagram page we actually had to abandon. It wasn't YouTube. So we woke up one morning and there was something like 13,000 subscribers. And I called the team and I said, hey, wow, we got 13,000 subscribers in one day. And the team was all excited. And next thing we know, we found out these were all bots and it wound up flagging the channel. and we couldn't get any interaction on the Instagram. That's the one thing that fears me with like a lot of these guys who say they can get millions of views. I don't know how they do it. It's maybe they have a secret formula you and I don't know about, though.
Well, it's just what I've come to understand is that sometimes Instagram would just pick and choose people, but they do pick and choose people that are consistent, and that are pretty consistent. And they have something that a lot of people like. Wait a minute, what am I doing? Let me try this instead. But I actually took out some of the methods that he used to go viral, and he actually personally hit me up and said, "Yeah, man, I noticed you're starting to do some of the things that I do in my videos. All right, man, you're getting the system down, you're getting it working out. But if you work with me, man, I can help you get to the next level." And I was like, I'm willing to do so. I just want to get to the point to where I have enough time to where I can do it, and then we can work things out. Because I actually do trust him. He actually has reached out to me a number of times. But taking some of his methods actually did work out for me. Like I did a video. You probably saw it. It was me at the Japan Super Bowl.
Yes.
The Rice Bowl.
I did see that video. Yes.
And
that was a funny video. That was cool, though.
It was fun. It was fun, very fun hanging out with football fans in Japan. And but there was one interview I did. I think you remember recall the lady in red.
Yes.
So her husband was playing in that game, and but I asked her to say, "Hey, who's your favorite NFL player?" And she said, "Cam Chancellor." So I put that portion of the interview on Instagram and on TikTok, and it went viral on both. Like right now on Instagram, it's like at 2.1 million views.
Wow.
And she got a lot of love because like, oh my gosh, everybody keeps saying she know ball. And that interview was so popular that the Seattle Seahawks themselves saw it. They took that interview and they put it on their page and they said, "Hey, this is a Cam Chancellor edit." I was like, yes, I made it. And she made it too.
I'll tell you what we found on the Kling Connection and with our other channels that we have too, is that YouTube was okay, but it's a saturated market and it's very tough to compete and people give up quick. I mean, we put out videos we thought were really good that got hardly any views. And then we put out other videos that were garbage that I want to say garbage, but weren't to the quality that you get thousands and thousands of views. So what we've been doing is actually we've been going on to two sites that actually been treating us really well, and the monetization's easier to get. One of them's called Odyssey, and the other is called Rumble. And Rumble, like we'll put a video, let's just say on YouTube, and we have as of the time of this recording, I think 57,000 followers on our YouTube page, and we'll put a video on YouTube, and we'll get nothing for weeks. But we put it on Rumble and we hardly have any subscribers. We have enough to get monetized, but not hundreds of thousands or anything. And that video will get 20 times the views the one on YouTube gets. So I think as time moves forward with creators like you and I and other people, with the YouTube market being so saturated, you're going to have to try to target in on separate platforms, whether that's TikTok or Rumble, or if you're older, Facebook. We actually get a really good following on Facebook, which I wasn't on Facebook for years, and they made me get back on Facebook. The team made me get back on Facebook about 2 months ago, and I'm not a Facebook guy, but yeah. So we found that Odyssey and Rumble were a good fit for us more than even YouTube, and but we did have some viral ones go. It was crazy. There's no rhyme or reason why they go viral.
What I've come to understand is like the attention span of people have the attention span of a goldfish, and so like the short form stuff kind of works out well, and it can lead to people going to either your YouTube or Rumble or Odyssey, and I found this guy by the way. But yeah, it's like what I've noticed is like Instagram. What I noticed with Instagram, they'll push sex a lot on there, or at least anything dealing with women, like
like or working out, tight clothes, that type of stuff. Yeah, younger women.
Yeah, but this dude, his most viral reel is him in China, and he was basically talking to a dude, asking about, oh hey, will I go to the police for this or whatever? Will you call the police on him? He was actually calling the police on him in Chinese for making some kind of video, and I was like, wow. That is fascinating. But then and then he has the other ones where he's like getting a massage, but it wasn't like one of those spicy ones. It was just a real massage from a lady. Yeah, and videos like that tend to do very well. It's like as long as the dude is like muscular and handsome, and he's getting massage, like a massage from like a Japanese lady or whatever, and they're just having a good conversation.
So a video with me getting a massage definitely would. We're out. So you won't be seeing any Shaun getting any Japanese massage on the Cling Connection. I'm sorry, everybody.
But you might see Shaun getting a Japanese massage.
So outside of Korea, where else have you been in the world?
So I've been to Japan. I've also in Asia. I've only mainly just been to Asia, Japan and Taiwan, the real China. I'm saying the real China.
So tell me a little bit about Taiwan then. Like, this is cool because I've met people who've been to Japan, Korea. You're actually the first person I've ever met that has been to Taiwan. The real China, you call it. So what's it like? What's Taiwan like?
Oh, Taiwan is beautiful. It was so. I mean, it's like I only went there because for two reasons. No, it was a visa run from South Korea. Because as an American, you can only stay in there on a tourist visa for 90 days. They were in Japan. I went there for a visa run. Actually 3 years. I also went there because my ex at the time had suggested it to me. And number 3, we have a real Taiwan restaurant in my hometown. And the owners over there, I'm really cool with them. They suggested that I go. In fact, one of the former owners, she had gave me her number. She said, "Hey, if you ever go to Taipei, call me and let me know, and I'll introduce you to my sisters or whatever." And so I was like, "Oh, cool." Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to do so, but I did get a chance to go over there and experience it. And the one thing I noticed about Taiwan, outside of it being extremely humid in the summer, was basketball is king there.
NBA?
Yeah.
Everybody
oh my God.
LeBron fan?
Everything. In fact, when I got off the plane, the national Taiwanese team got off at the same time I did. And there was a black guy. His name was Quincy. He was taller than me. Like I'm 6'2". He's like 6'7", 6'8". and I took a picture with him. And Quincy, he was a cool dude. It was cool to talk to him. But I went over there, and some Taiwanese friends that I met in Japan, that I worked with in Japan, which is an interesting story. I'll get to that in a moment. The boyfriend worked at a hostel, and they all got me in there, and we all got settled. And I toured with them twice. We went to the night markets. Like that's the thing in Taiwan, the night markets. That's where you want to go. You can find so much either good food, amusement stuff, bootleg clothes or whatever. You're walking around, you're just having a great time. I did that with them. And then I also did like daytime markets and stuff with my friend at the time. His name is CJ Ride, who became very infamous in the country for a number of things. Like namely, he got in trouble twice there, and he got blackballed. He got blacklisted for a good while. When I got blacklisted on Twitch as well too for something dumb. We both got blacklisted, but we became friends at that moment, and we just kind of got to know each other. And he had really helped me out. I helped him out, and he helped me to explore some things about Taiwan and to get to know the people. Like people over there, when you meet with Taiwanese people, they say, "Hey, welcome to Taiwan, Taiwan number one." And you're like, "Yeah, that's how you become friends with someone, Taiwan number one."
So, is there like cool things to see over there? What's to do in Taiwan? Like outside of basketball and going to the city, I mean, did you experience anything like? Is there beaches there? Is there a night?
I didn't get a chance to really explore the beaches because Taipei's like kind of in the middle, and the beaches were far, so I was only there for like a short period of time.
Oh, okay.
I did go, but I just so happened to actually go up there to actually went to a spicy event called the TAE, Taiwan Adult Expo. But I only went up there because someone that I met up with previously was also over there. Her and her manager, she was a former adult star in Japan, but she was over there. I didn't get a chance to see her, but I did get a chance to go to the TAE, and it was actually pretty amazing because I was the only other black guy there. I was probably the only American there, and the second black guy. And this is, and I don't want to bring too much red pill into this, but there's a term called hypergamy.
Yes.
And and I used it accidentally. So over there in Taiwan, like the spicy stars, they don't call them that, they call them showgirls. And I don't know what quite the standards are with regards to adult content there, but I do. But there was a girl. There were like two girls where they were showgirls, and they were guests, and I didn't know it. And so I'm walking by this one girl, and she's like, hey, tall guy, come over here. You're handsome. Let me take a picture. You're tall and handsome. Let me take a picture with you. I said, okay. So we take a picture and everything. I'm like, I like when I'm with short girls, I'm always like putting my arm over their heads and stuff. Say, hey, look how short she is or whatever. But then she went like this to me, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. And we take this picture, and I learned about her hypergamy at this very moment. As we were taking the pictures, a fan of hers who had like bought all of her stuff, right? He had like a lot of her merchandise. He wanted to take the picture. He's like, no, you got to pay. I'm gonna take a picture with him because I like him. You got to pay. And I was like, God dang, that is cold blooded.
That happened to me one time. I was with my cousin, and we went out to dinner. And when I lived in Pennsylvania, because that's where I'm originally from, and my cousin says, "Come on, let's go out to dinner." We went to this hoity-toity place, totally not my scene. And my cousin, who was younger, told the lady that was a waitress that my name was Andrew Gardner, who was a offensive guard for the Philadelphia Eagles at the time, and he looked exactly like me. And she went in and told all these people at the bar, hey, there's a Philadelphia Eagle sitting at the table. So people were coming out, like sticking their head around the corner, like trying to take pictures of me with their cell phone. And I said to him, my cousin, Tim, I said, we got to pay for this. And they're going to see my credit card that my name's not Andrew Gardner. And he's like, I got cash. And we snuck out the back door. But then for years, people were like, hey, Andrew Gardner for the Philadelphia Eagles ate at this restaurant. I'm like, no, that was me.
That is wild.
I had to every waitress at the place hitting on me. It was crazy. So Japan, this is an interesting one. You were in Japan. Now, my grandfather was in Japan during the Second World War. And, he's been gone for years. But I've met people that have traveled to Japan, and Japan's become really a hotspot for foreign tourism. A lot of Europeans and Americans stuff. I'm really interested. You started to tell a story about Japan and about somebody you met over there. I'm really interested in Japan.
Oh, okay. So Japan, the very first time I went there was actually when I worked at the school. I went to Osaka, but I had to go get had to get my visa to work in Korea. You have to leave the country to go get it, do it there, whatever. Osaka was cool. I was there for a day, but the second time I went to Japan, it was back to Osaka. I went there for a pro wrestling show. I used to be huge into pro wrestling at the time. And
favorite wrestler?
I'm sorry.
Who's your favorite wrestler?
Oh, Booker T.
Booker T.
Can you dig it, sucker? I love Booker T growing up.
Hey, right down by where I live, literally a couple miles is Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair. And Hulk Hogan actually rescued a woman that got in a car accident on the highway by us. The car flipped up over on its roof, and I guess he was in the car behind it with a friend of his, and the woman was upside down, and Hogan actually walked over and looked in the window and tried to help the person. Imagine hanging there upside down in your car in a car accident. You all right there, brother?
Dude, that is so wild to hear. This younger generation, they hate Hulk Hogan. They hate him.
He was the man back in the day, Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, he was the man back in the day, but when people are now looking at his history and everything, how he held other wrestlers back, they hate him for that, but they also hate him because there was a leaked message of him saying the N-word, a hard R. With his daughter. But I'm just saying, I don't really care about all that. That doesn't bother me. It's Hulk Hogan, man. But I would feel more that way towards Ric Flair, but that's another story. So I'm in Japan. I watched a Japanese wrestling event for the first time over there, and there was a lady who she now wrestles in the WWE. Now her name is in the WWE. She's Asuka, but in Japan she went by her real name Kana, and she was the reason why I went there to go see her. Because I was like, oh man, I see Con all the time, and she was wrecking people's heads. She's cool. And I go over there to a party. I paid for the after party. I think it was $30 at the time. And we were all up there having fun, getting drunk with Osakan Japanese people. and learning Japanese words. I'm teaching them bad English words, and we're just having fun. But my main inspiration for Japan was there was a Black American actor that lives in Tokyo right now. His name is Dante Carver, and I'll never forget seeing him in 2009, where he was acting over there, and he still is. Oh, sorry, he still is acting over there to this day, and he was like the most successful foreign actor over there of all time in these commercials for this phone service called SoftBank, which is like Japan's AT&T. Okay. And he's known as the Yozu guy, which is like unexpected guy, because he's in a Japanese family. He has a Japanese mother, Japanese sister, and the dad is Japanese too, but he's a dog, a talking dog. Yeah, and Dante plays like the son. He's a Black guy. He's like, wait a minute. He's like the unexpected guy. What is this? But they've been doing those commercials since I think 2007. And Dante's story inspired me. He said he did 121 auditions and he failed them all. But then on audition 122, he got it by accident, by just kind of, in his own words, goofing around. And he's been doing those commercials and movies ever since. In fact, he's even good friends with, there's a very famous game series called Metal Gear Solid. And
Metal Gear Solid. I'm familiar with it, yeah.
And he's good friends with the creator, Hideo Kojima. They're like boys. And Hideo's even put him in Metal Gear 5 and stuff, which is so cool. But seeing Dante and I was being inspired by him, and I see him as a big brother. And I last saw him in 2019. But it's like he kind of really inspired me to like kind of really put myself out there and do a bit more, and not really let the yang of other people say, "Oh, you can't do this because you're Black or whatever." Get to it. You know, he was kind of like my inspiration for really traveling and really going out there and doing stuff.
So Japan, I heard, is really clean.
Yes.
It's like immaculately clean, like almost like Canada used to be years ago.
Yeah, there are no trash bins though in Japan. So you gotta like you have to go to a kombini or convenience store to go throw your stuff away. And everything. But no, it is very clean. Nobody spits. Like in Korea they do that, but nobody in Japan, you won't see people doing that. It is always very clean. It's like I remember the last 2 times I went, when I worked overnight, I would go out to go eat lunch at 2:00 in the morning, and you would see the people like the streets is getting cleaned by like all the trash guys and stuff. So it is super clean. They pride themselves on being clean.
So were you ever on the bullet train or go to Mount Fuji?
No. And Mount Fuji, I really don't want to climb Mount Fuji. It would take 8 hours to go up, 8 hours to go down. I really don't want to do that.
Yeah, I seen that documentary on the bullet trains that they have over there, which is pretty impressive. That's the one thing, I love the United States and there's a lot to offer, but you see train travel in Japan, you see train travel in Europe, and it is far superior to ours. I mean, maybe it's because their countries are smaller than ours. I mean, you're in Texas, I'm in Florida, we're both Americans, but it would take me a day's travel by airplane just to get to you. So maybe it's the infrastructure of it all, but I always was fascinated. I was
lobbyists.
The lobbyists, right. I was always fascinated by the train stuff. Matter of fact, Shane and I are talking about taking a train trip. There's a very famous one that goes from Colorado to Utah through the mountains and stuff. Sounds really cool. I like trains. I'm a train geek. What can I say?
Oh, you'll love the bullet train. In fact, I rode it once by accident.
How do you ride a train by accident?
I didn't, because I can't, at the time I couldn't read, I still can't read Japanese, but I thought I was taking a train going, like a regular train, like a subway train going into it, but I accidentally took the Shinkansen, I can't pronounce it right. It was like the famous bullet train on there to go into Tokyo. I think I went to Tokyo Station by accident, but it's like I have the wrong ticket. I didn't know what I was doing, and I can get away. You can get away with this. You can play the ignorant foreigner. It's like, I didn't know. I'm sorry, I can't read this. I can't read this, and everything. And it depends on the mood of the person. They'll understand. It's like, hey, this is your first time doing this. It's all good. You can play that. You can do that too. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't suggest doing it often, but you can from time to time. But I run. I said, wow, this is nice and this is fast. Like, holy crap, this is really fast.
So
So,
most
but
recently, you were in Canada. Your work took you to Canada for the big fires that they had up
no,
there.
no. I went up there for. I was in Calgary for a big hail. I
Oh, a
mean,
big hail. Okay.
I tried to go up there for the fire, but they weren't having me. But
Okay.
but this is my second time in Canada ever. But this is my first time ever in Calgary.
Okay.
And I was up there because Calgary got hit with a massive hailstorm over there. Like these houses got wrecked, and a lot of them were new houses too. It's
So
like
for our fans that are listening, Shaun doesn't always just do education and video. He's also works in the insurance industry. So if he's saying he was up there helping out with a hailstorm, that means he was helping property owners with insurance damages.
hmm 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 But when I was up there in Calgary, you know, I heard a lot of people complain about how Canada is right now because there were like a lot of immigrants living over there, and I didn't really know how true it was until I went up there because a good 95% of the people I had were either from India or Pakistan, and I was like, wow, I got so many people. It's like I think I had only like maybe two white people.
Wow.
Three, no, I'm sorry, three white people total. Out of the 45 claims I had only three white people total there. But I was like I guess I was also in a very diverse area too, because the Airbnb people I stayed with, they were Chinese in Hong Kong. I mean, they were nice,
Yeah.
eating Chinese food and then introducing them to Texas Southern delicacies. That was so cool, man. I'll never forget. I made this fried cabbage recipe my dad taught me. It was like fried cabbage with some spices, onions, and sausage. They ate that whole thing up that day. It was like I made a giant pot and they ate it all up. And they said, this is the best stuff we've ever had.
So Calgary, they're known for that Calgary Stampede, that big drive that they do. I know people that
The
have been
rodeo?
there. I've never been there, but I heard it's really cool.
Man, I showed up there a week after it ended.
Ah,
But one of my friends, she's actually a wrestler for AEW, and she went up there for a Stampede, and she said it was just like rodeos basically, and it looked fun. But I did actually go to like an overlook of where they had where the Calgary Stampede, the football team, the Canadian football team actually plays at.
yeah, that's right. They have the CFL teams up there too. Yeah.
Yeah, and I got a picture. I got to give it to you, but it was just a sight to see that, and I would have loved to have been able to be a part of Stampede because it looks just like the rodeo. Again, the rodeos they have down here in San Antonio and Houston or whatever. And I'm just like, man, this is like we got like that whole rodeo Southern thing, but in Canada.
So Shaun's been around the world. If I have to ask, what by far of all the countries that you've been to, in your travels for work or leisure or whatever, what's your favorite?
Man, I hate this question because it's too fun with all the travels I've done. If I were to live anywhere, I would live in South Korea, mainly. But I would have to live outside of Seoul, like out in the countryside, because I enjoyed it. But if I had to live in Japan, I would live in Fukuoka. That's my favorite city in all of Japan. Fukuoka. It's like in the southern tip of the country, and the people there are so much nicer than they are in Tokyo. But Osaka, though, I have a special place in my heart for that because it's like the people are like Texans,
Yep.
in a sense.
So if you had to choose one country to go to that you haven't visited, what perks your interest? What country? Maybe give me two countries. Where would you like to go?
Oh, right now? Oh, they're both in South America. One is Peru.
Okay. Machu Picchu.
And the other is Argentina.
Okay. Argentina. I've heard Argentina's become a big travel country.
People say that Argentinians are racist, but I'm just like, I don't care. I want to just see Argentina. I want to see it. I mean, of course, I can always go to Brazil, but everyone goes to Brazil. But I want to go to the places where people don't go. People always go to either Colombia or Brazil when they go to South America.
Shane and I have been talking about going to New Zealand and Australia. I'm a big Lord of the Rings dork. That's me, and I want to go see where all the films are made, go to Hobbiton. And she has friends that she knew for years. A guy worked for a train company when she lived in Pennsylvania and was from New Zealand there on a work visa in Pennsylvania, and then he went back to New Zealand, and they've offered us to stay with him. So really looking forward to New Zealand, Australia. That would be.
Kiwis are cool. I worked with a whole bunch of Australians and New Zealanders. I learned the haka from them. That was fun.
Oh, the haka, the team that's out there, the rugby team and stuff.
I don't know, but I love it. That is so cool. But yeah, I worked with a whole bunch of Kiwis as teachers, and they were just some of the nicest people up there. In fact, one Kiwi I worked with, young kid, and he was a huge basketball head too, and but he also did taekwondo. He could fight too. He was sport from time to time, but he was a cool person. But yeah, I would like to go to Australia one of these days. I'd like to go to New Zealand one of these days. And of course, in the motherland of Africa, I really want to go to South Africa one day. I want to go to Botswana next. I also want to visit Kenya and Ghana as well. And in fact, I think there's even a Spanish-speaking colony in West Africa.
I didn't know that. Really?
No, yeah. Who was that name of that YouTuber? He's a Spanish, Luisito Comunica. He went over there, and he said there was like a Spanish-speaking colony in Africa, and I thought that was neat.
Wow. So if for our fans, as we wrap up, I mean, Shaun, you and I have talked for hours before. I mean, and we're definitely going to get you back on the show, and we're going to do some stuff together because, you know, your experience in life. You know, I'm honestly, I'm not just saying this. I am a fan of your show. I'm a fan of what you put out. I'm a fan of you motivate me, and you motivate a lot of people around you, and you should be proud of the work that you do. But if people want to find you, if people want to see what's next in store for Shaun On Site, where can we find you? And you know, what do you have coming out in the future if you want to share it?
Okay, well, you can find me on YouTube, Shaun On Site, SHAUN, you see right there. On Instagram is Shaun On Site altogether, but the number 85. I'm pretty active on Instagram. The next thing, I'm looking at actually going into doing domestic travel. I'm actually going to look at going into St. Louis. I've never been there before. It's going to be work related for insurance, but I'm going to try to do what I can to try to get involved in a few things regarding St. Louis and see what it's all about. You know, see what that Missouri barbecue is like.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Internationally, I'm hoping that if things work out well, I am going to go back to Japan, to Tokyo. Me and some friends, we're going to go to Tokyo for the Tokyo Game Show. We're going to do like that for about a day, but we're also going to explore I'm actually looking at exploring other parts of Japan that I haven't been to, if time allows it. But I eventually want to go to South America. I want to try to go to probably like when the temperature, when it's warmer down there below the equator.
Yeah. They have a different season. Our winter is their summer or something, I guess. Or kind of. I know it's like that for New Zealand and Australia. Like December's our winter, but that's the middle of their summer down there.
Yep. So that's what I got planned out. So, but we'll see. But everything is on a we'll see basis.
So for all our fans out there, go check out Shaun On Site, subscribe to his YouTube channel, find him on Instagram, find him on TikTok, wherever he's at. You will not be disappointed. Hey, and some of it might be a little PG-13. That's okay. You're getting the genuine guy. There's no games, no BS behind him. He's a great guy. Like I said, I've worked with him a couple times. He's interviewed me, and we're in the same industry. He's got a great reputation. He's just a great guy. So go out and support him, subscribe to his channels, and give the guy some love. He definitely needs it, and he's going to be the next YouTuber that everybody's going to be looking at for travel and stuff, especially for the single guy out there tearing the world up and doing his thing. So I want to thank Shaun for being on the channel today. And if you like what you saw, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. We're on all the social platforms, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. You can find us on Rumble and Odyssey, YouTube, you name it. We're there. You can also go to our Patreon and Locals page if you want to subscribe and help us out. We don't always get paid doing this. It's a labor of love a lot of times, but any help that anybody can give us. So for Shaun On Site and for the Kling Connection, Shaun Kling, thank you for joining us. And until next time, have fun storming the castle.
Peace and love, everybody.
And that's a wrap on today's episode of the Kling Connection Travel Talk Podcast. Huge thanks to our guest, Shaun from Shaun On Site, for sharing his incredible travel stories. Remember, keep exploring, one journey at a time.